Good morning, all. My name is Dr. Michael Saulo. Currently, I'm the registrar in charge of partnership research and innovation here in Technical University of Mombasa. I want to take this early opportunity to welcome all our stakeholders from all the economic sectors within the nation, and also welcome the TUM staff and TUM students to our first ever TUM Virtual Innovation Day. We as a university, we've prided ourselves as a hub of innovation at sea level. And this is true because we have participated in so many innovation activities locally, nationally, and also internationally. And as a result of that, we have won many trophies, which is a sign actually we are a hub of innovation. And today, being our first multidisciplinary innovation day, we are going to showcase 15 students from our 4 schools here in the university. That is the School of Engineering and Technology, the School of Applied and Health Sciences, the School of Business Studies, and the School of Humanities and Social Sciences, not the Institute of Computer and Informatics. So these students' innovation were vetted from 40 innovations that we had previously. We were to hold a multidisciplinary conference early this year, but we all know due to the COVID-19 pandemic, this conference was not able to take place. And so these innovations were ready, 40 of them. So what we did was to vet 15 out of the 40, and it is these 15 that we are showcasing today. So we know that our students are ready, and they have very good outputs that they have been working on. And so we urge you stakeholders and members that to take time to be in this conference. And I believe that there's something that you are going to get out of this. The Office of the Registrar, Partnership and Innovation is mandated by the university to be able to promote innovation and extension activities, and more so the community outreaches. And because of this, we have organized this Innovation Day, the Virtual Innovation Day, so that we could be able to go as per the mandate of the department. The Innovation Day is something that is new. The Virtual Innovation Day is new to us. It's the first one that we are holding, but we are expecting that we'll be doing this more frequently. And as I finish, I want you to take cognizance that as much as we are going to innovate, to showcase 15 innovations, previously we've been able to patent another 18 innovations for the last two years that we have been in the office. And these innovations are already patented, as I've said, and the ones that we are showcasing today are also in the process of being patented. So I'm confident to say today that we are at a stage where now we can take off with our commercialization and our commercialization program. So thank you very much. I want to take this opportunity now to invite our Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of academic research and extension, Professor Peter Gichangi. So Professor, karibu.
Thank you, Saulo, and good morning, everybody. My apologies that I'm taking this call from the car. I'm right now in the village. My village is called Kirugoya in Kiriga County. This morning, I had a beautiful view of Mount Kenya as I was driving here. I would address myself to the issues of linkages between the industry and academia to maximize innovation. We are aware about industries and the role they play. We are all aware about universities and the role they play. And therefore, the question of industry and universities' linkages and how this can spur more innovation is quite pertinent. But I would like to start by recognizing that any partnership has to be driven by one, a business vision for the industry, and two, an academic vision for the university. As Technical University of Mombasa, we are very proud of our heritage, technical heritage. From the day the university was started, that has been a common thread throughout the existence of the university. And I think it's from that perspective that if you go to any sector in this country, energy particularly, you find somebody from an alumni of Technical University of Mombasa. And so there's an opportunity here to be able to work collaboratively between the universities and the industries. One thing which is important, and I'll address several issues, is one, the industries have their products. But have they all the portfolio products they need? Maybe no. Maybe universities can help them to think about new products. What about the products which exist? Are they efficiently produced? Maybe they can be tweaked in the system of production to improve efficiencies in production, efficiencies in marketing, efficiencies in supply chain. And all those elements, one way or another, will be considered innovation. If you look at the universities, like Saulo has mentioned, we have a big responsibility, particularly in my unit, to undertake research, and research for purpose of knowledge generation. And that knowledge generation is important because then we need to translate that knowledge to actionable knowledge, knowledge which can be used by the community and stakeholders, and industries are indeed part of the stakeholders. But there's an important concept to think about. Why would we partner with industries? The co-creation, co-consumption of knowledge. If you are able to attract industries to work with us, then we have a big opportunity to co-generate the knowledge. And that is a beautiful thing. Why? Because then we'll be able to generate knowledge which immediately can be consumed by the industry. And this is a model particularly very prominent in European countries, the Americas, where industries depend on universities for purposes of research, for purposes of generation of new products. But that has taken time, and that will take time. The key tenet which makes this work is the element of trust. And trust is both ways. As researchers, we pride ourselves to do honest research, not manipulated research. But industries will also need to be honest and trust us that we can produce knowledge which then they can consume. And that element is particularly important because without trust, we can do all the research, but nobody is going to consume it. And so if you're looking at how do we make these things even better, we must create a situation where it's a win-win situation. The industries are there to make business, to make money. And therefore our activities, if they are geared to help them to make money, then they will be able to welcome such an idea. Universities, we are there to generate knowledge. And certainly, being given an opportunity to work with industries to generate that knowledge is a plus for the universities. And particularly, we are looking at our master's and PhD students. These are the individuals who have gone through their basic training, their master's training to be PhD students, are capable of generating knowledge which is actionable knowledge. And so for me is to wish to a situation where we are able to co-create knowledge, work together to develop things. How companies, motor vehicle companies produce vehicles. And you realize the process of automation is huge there, such that many things are then automated, and that improves the process of production. We are very happy as a university to collaborate with the French government, which has given us robotics or robots, and our faculty members are being trained in the process of looking at how can we improve our knowledge on automation. And I think this is going to be very, very relevant to industries to help them think through the process of automation and many other elements. And so for us, we'll be able to seek and reach to the industries, but we also would like the industries to seek and reach to us to see what are these common areas we can corroborate and co-create knowledge so that we have a win-win.
Chair, we've lost him. We've lost the voice.
Okay, now we can hear you well, Prof. We can hear you, Prof.
Okay. Sorry, I think I'd finished. I'd reached the point where I was inviting the Vice Chancellor to address us and open this meeting. Thank you.
To our first virtual innovation day. The theme is to leverage innovations for sustainable development. Welcome all our guests. I can see our chairman of the council is also with us and other council members. Ribuni, Dr. Mwaisaka is also our council members. I'm seeing he's also with us, and all the other stakeholders. Ribuni. Now, Technical University of Mombasa has a very rich history of innovation, having metamorphosized from Polytechnic. We used to be Mombasa Polytechnic. We had that rich culture of innovation. So our students are normally given that foundation whereby they come up as they are learning, they come up with technological innovations, which are going to help them to be creative. We are actually trying to come up with students who are very, very creative, and they are going to be able to go out into the industries with their own ideas. We actually nurture these ideas. Currently, we have a very vibrant Innovation Club, which has 135 student membership. And the membership is from all the schools. And this club is run by the students themselves. Now, what the registrar, partnership, research and extension is now coming up is the idea of creating an incubation ecosystem whereby each school will have its own incubation center. And now later on, these centers will be linked with, the centers will be run with the Innovation Club under the guidance of the registrar, partnership, research and extension. Now, it is this innovation which we are going to culture and come up with ideas so that our students are going to benefit from their ideas which they have. These innovation ecosystems or these incubators are going also to be under the vision of the academic research and extension. You've just seen the DVC talking about us on leveraging on the industries, whereby we need to have very, very good partnership with industries. I've also heard from the registrar that we have had a number of innovations. Our students have been on the forefront in coming up with patents. And what we want to do is to support these students so that as they are at the universities, they have come up with ideas, we support these ideas so that they come up with what we call startups. We can actually help our students when they come up with their ideas. What we want at Technical University of Mombasa is to guide these students so that eventually they can commercialize these ideas. And what will happen when they commercialize these ideas, it means that they will now be able to create employment and business. So what we are doing is support our graduates so that when they go out there, they become job creators and not job seekers. So this platform today is to allow our students to be able to showcase their innovations, their ideas, so that we can actually pick them. And from there, we can nurture these ideas, we can patent these ideas, and eventually commercialize these ideas. We've had a number of our students who have had innovations, they've commercialized them, and they have actually created businesses out of their creations. So at Technical University of Mombasa, I'm repeating, as we are teaching our students, we are coming up with graduates who are job creators and not job seekers. So our stakeholders who are listening, I just want you to listen and be with us so that we can see our students, the innovations which they are having. Most of those innovations have been, sometimes they have been taken up by the industries. So the industries players who are with us today, you can actually see or hear our students showcase their innovations, and can actually support them by taking them up to the next level. Thank you very much. I would like to invite our chief guest for today, who will give us our keynote address, Mr. Innocent Mugabe, who is the Chief Officer for Youth, Gender, and Sports. Mr. Mugabe is actually a veteran at Technical University of Mombasa. He is not new to us. He has been our faculty member for a very, very long time, since the Polytechnic time. And we are happy to welcome him so that he can give us the keynote address. Bwana Mugabe, karibu.
Thank you very much. The VC, the DVCs present, the deans, the innovators, and all invited guests. First of all, let me convey a message, greetings and message of goodwill from His Excellency, the Governor of Mombasa, Ali Hassan Joho, and his deputy, who is also a faculty member at Technical University of Mombasa, Dr. William Kingi. And today is actually my pleasure to join the Technical University family to celebrate our innovation and innovators today. Mombasa County Government is very proud to be associated with this initiative. Most important, as the department that handles youth affairs, we feel very privileged for the opportunity accorded to our young people to showcase their innovations. The theme, leveraging innovation for sustainable development, to us is quite pertinent. And we are very eager to see some of the innovations today, considering the UN Sustainable Development Goals, the Big Four agenda for our nation, and the Mombasa Vision 2035. And I would also want to really congratulate Technical University of Mombasa for going against all odds to have this virtual conference to showcase the different innovations because of the issues of COVID-19. I know having a physical meeting is a tall order, but you've gone against all odds to achieve this. And this is the kind of adaptability that we are all looking at. And particularly also as county government, we recognize that innovation and technology will be at the heart of job creation, especially in our special economic zones. We have 2 special economic zones that are coming up in Mombasa, that is Dongokundu and Miritini. And we believe these innovations will go a long way towards helping achieve sustainability of this zone and also their success. We are also eager to tap and support innovations that will help our county and country at large to harness on the blue economy. We know that the government has invested a lot towards tapping on the blue economy, and mostly these will go to the coastal strip counties, which hosts the Technical University of Mombasa. So we'll also be very eager to see how to leverage on that. As a government, we commit to continue ensuring that the space available for innovators in whatever field or area is always open. We are also committed to ensuring that the policy and legislative framework that will allow innovations to launch their startups is in place. And as a county government, we will work closely with the innovators, with the institutions, to make sure that we give full support to startups, so that we make sure that they are able to commercialize their innovation. The county government of Mombasa also has embarked on our program to ensure internet access and space needed, especially for young tech innovators to operate freely and ensure that this space is available through our Department of ICT. We are going to ensure that we provide free internet access to all our social halls and youth centers. And these youth centers, some are operated by the government and others by private institutions. But we are in talks with internet providing companies to make sure that we have internet, proper internet access to these areas, because we know it will go a long way, especially for those in ICT innovations. Plans are also underway to set up innovation hubs in every sub-county. And at this, we have also been working closely with the Technical University of Mombasa, the Institute of ICT, to ensure that our young people have access to these hubs. They are mentored, and their businesses or startups are incubated in readiness for commercialization. And for the innovators showcasing their works today, the county government of Mombasa is very ready to partner with you to build on your innovations. As such, I urge all of you to go all out, to think outside the box, to dream big and small too, to bring these things to life. Your innovations will for sure add value and improve quality of life in Mombasa, Kenya, and the rest of the world. Once again, I thank Technical University of Mombasa for leading in this great cause of recognizing innovations and innovators. Thank you very much.
This is muted.
Yes, I was muted. Thank you, Bwana Mugabe, for that keynote address. And our students have heard that, and they are going to partner with the county. We've had a very, very strong collaboration with the county government, and our students are ready to partner, especially on the areas of the blue economy. And as you said, now the Dongokundu will take advantage, and our students will take advantage of the new developments in Mombasa, so that we can actually be able to benefit from those activities that are actually blooming in our areas, so that our students can actually be able to participate in the economic development of this region. Thank you very much. Since you're with us, and Dr. Maisaka, I think maybe you could say a few words to our students. Chairman of the council, since you're with us, and we have a member of the council. We are privileged to have the two members, despite the short notice, they are here with us. Dr. Arunga, our chairman, would you like to say something to our students who are innovating today, who are showing their innovations?
Thank you very much, VC. Maybe I would want to give the first opportunity for Dr. Davidson to say something, then I'll make a few remarks. Davidson, if you're there.
Thank you. Apologies, those fluctuations on my net. Yeah, so I think thank you very much for the invitation, both management and staff. VC. I think this is a great opportunity. Yeah, and see the great things and initiatives that continue to be done by TUM. So I look forward, to participate and also be part of this excellent initiative, the first one, and I'm sure it will be a good starting point, and we'll have great learnings that we can continue adding and pulling through going forward. So thank you, all of you, and I look forward to the session. Over to you, Chair. Asante.
Thank you, Dr. Misaka. Mine is really to thank the organizers of this Innovation Day, and to say that we are in a very interesting period where we have to do all these things virtually, and we may not have the occasion to, just see the innovations physically. On behalf of the council, I would like to say that we are very committed to innovation. And we would like to see the university do more. Our council is prepared to support the students and the researchers to innovate, to come up with new ideas, to test new ideas in the laboratories, and be able to innovate and commercialize innovations. As you know, my background was with the Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute, where I worked most of my life, and I've been very passionate in the nexus of universities, industry, and research institutions. And one would have liked to see research institutions at the coast represented here. I know there's Kemfree, and there are some branches of other research institutions like Kiridi, Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute, and maybe a representation of more industries in this Innovation Day. I don't know how many industries are represented here, but it would have been interesting to see the big industries in Mombasa, the Kenya Ports Authority, the maritime industries. Mombasa has got some of the big industries, the refinery. All these things, all these industries maybe need to be represented in an occasion like this. Ours as an institution, we are prepared to, as a council, we are prepared to support all innovation activities involving the local industries, the local research institutions, and the Technical University of Mombasa, with other other universities at the coast, Taita Taveta and Pwani University. We are quite impatient that maybe we are not doing enough of this. And also we would like to partner with international universities and international institutions relevant to our needs, especially in the blue economy. We are glad that we are getting a lot of support now from the county government, here represented by Mr. Mugabe. And we know that the governor and the deputy governor are on board and they are prepared to support us in this regard. I'm happy that we have patented 18 patents, but we would like also to know how many of these patents have been commercialized. In my experience with the research, commercialization is important. You have seen that the vaccines which have been developed were developed by research institutions together with a commercializing arm. The Pfizer working together with the German firm. And you could see that right from the start, the researchers brought in people to commercialize immediately. And as soon as they got a breakthrough, they could be able to roll out the commercialization aspects. I'm glad that the various schools will be having some incubation centers. And these incubation centers should be able to act as pilots for eventual commercialization in a wider sense. As a technical university and considering our history, we should be in the forefront. In fact, we should be in the lead with regard to research, pilot studies, and commercialization. We need to have a very, very strong program at the university to be able to do this and be able to give an example to other universities. I'm very happy with the team in place, headed by the DVC research and Professor Gichangi and Saulo. We look forward to learning more as a council. What steps are being taken in terms of commercialization and what research outputs are being commercialized. And we cannot do this without partnering with all the industries at the coast, especially, but all industries within Kenya as well. For us as a council, we will be able to support you. And I believe the VC has got passion, and the DVC have got a passion for this. And we can work together in ensuring that we have enough resources to be able to deliver on the various government programs like the Big Four agenda and the 2030 vision. But to be able to do this, we need to incorporate everybody to be part of this. So we need to strengthen our partnerships, both locally, nationally, and internationally. I'm glad that we are looking at robotics together with the French. I hope that these type of partnerships can be expanded to involve especially the blue economy, where a lot of countries who are also near the coasts or at sea level working at the frontiers of knowledge and technology. This was not my day. I believe that we are all here to see the 15 innovations which are being presented today. And we are here to learn and also to be able to partner with you as we go forward. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Good morning, good morning. What a beautiful morning. The D-Day has finally come. My name is Daniel Otieno and I'll be your moderator for the day. Just to remind you that we are also coming live from our main campus, that is in Chuda, County 001, County of Mombasa. And as the locals would want to put it, Karibu Mombasani. Thank you so much. Let me also take this opportunity to recognize some of our people who have joined us. We want to appreciate our council chair, Dr. Arunga, also council member, Dr. Davidson Mwaisaka, county government, representing county government of Mombasa, that is Innocent Mugabe, chief officer, youth, gender, and sports. Also, we have a representation from MDF and Close the Gap, Eva Kimani. Not to forget mentioning Tech Kids Africa, that is Paul Akwabi, our very own alumni here from Technical University of Mombasa. Just to remind you that we are live on our YouTube, that is TUM TV KE. So don't fail to watch us live. Then the next person that I'm about to introduce, we have a lot of things lined up for you, that we have so many projects that we want to show you. But the next person that I'm about to introduce is representing all the deans of schools, that is Dr. Victor Lutsili, representing all the deans, but is the Dean, School of Humanity, Social Sciences. Welcome, Daktari.
Good morning and warm greetings from the Deans of Schools at Technical University of Mombasa, on whose behalf I represent, and I make this address. As you have been told, I'm Dr. Victor Lutsili, Dean School of Humanities and Social Sciences. At the outset, I would like to extend my appreciation to Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic Affairs, Academic Research and Extension, Professor Peter Gichangi, and the Partnership Research and Innovations Division under the innovative leadership of Dr. Saulo Juma and his team. Their planning and organizations have made this event, whose theme is Leveraging Innovation and Sustainable Development, successful. I wish also to thank my fellow deans who generously and for some, possibly grudgingly, allowed me to be the one to make this address on their behalf. More importantly, I thank our University Council through the Vice Chancellor, Professor Laila, Abubakar, Technical University of Mombasa, under whose able leadership, the holding of this event in this challenging but innovation-friendly COVID-19 times has been made possible. Ladies and gentlemen, in 2015, the United Nations General Assembly adopted an ambitious, all-encompassing agenda to guide the advancement of humankind for the next 15 years, known as the 2030 Agenda. The agreement calls upon all countries of the world to advance the welfare of their citizens sustainably to ensure the long-term viability of all development and growth. Key to the implementation of these Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, is the effective use of science, technology, and innovation, STI. Since then, and even before that, organizations across industries for the last decade have come to rely on innovation to remain relevant and effective in our constantly evolving society. This is witnessed especially by updating their products, processes, or business models, and developing new ones from the scratch. The innovation allows companies to stay abreast of changing consumer needs and expectations to remain competitive among similar companies in their space. Today, the innovation process is responsible for many of the most popular products and services we know. We now have app-ordered food delivery services, video streaming platforms, 2-day shipping features from Jumia or Amazon or eBay, and so much more. However, please not misconstrue me as saying innovation is when large-scale projects are conceived and born, and it's not when small ones are hatched. Innovation is more than just large-scale projects. The education sector, for example, offers countless opportunities for change and evolvement that have the potential to impact students, parents, and faculty members for years to come. The Innovation Day allows us at Technical University of Mombasa to explore the powerful significance of the innovative mindset among our faculty and students, and to look at tips for applying innovation in our educational institution today. Technological innovations are making a significant impact on education systems at all levels. At Technical University of Mombasa and many other institutions, online courses, for example, are becoming a norm courtesy of innovation. We also have teaching aids, educational software, social networking tools, and other emerging technologies are disrupting the traditional classroom environment. Understanding the effects that technological innovations have on students, teachers, and schools is critical to developing strategies and techniques to manage and use technology in education. What is innovation in education? Looking at TED Education blog, I saw such a question actually raised to educators from all around the world, and these are some of the responses. One says, I think of the expression, don't put new wine into old bottles when talking about innovation in education. This is a teacher from South Korea. And she goes on to say, the world is changing. However, people still teach and learn in a way that was invented in the Industrial Revolution. It doesn't just work anymore. Another one, Jennifer from US says, innovation in education involves constant collaboration with colleagues. A total last-minute redo of a teacher's lesson plan because there was something else out there that he or she just had to try. A change in the direction of a class because the students are driving instruction. Another one says, innovation in education is about more than just technology. It's about how you can use technology to empower students to become lifelong learners who are agents of change. That is a teacher from Jakarta, Indonesia. And therefore, when you look at this, you find that there's no single definition of innovation in education. But one thing is for sure, innovation has a very important place in education. Many mistakenly believe innovation has to do with the use of technology or new inventions. If we went by Harvard Todd's Ross argument that the hardest part of learning something new is not embracing new ideas, but letting go of old ones, then innovation in education, I should say, is doing things in a new way. What we need to be reminded, however, is to do something differently requires letting go old approaches, processes, products, or strategies and embracing new ones. Innovation-oriented faculty would, for example, be engaged in redesigning learning experiences to make them more relevant to students' interests and career paths, personalized to their aptitudes and abilities, and responsive to their cultural and individual identities. I'm pleased to acknowledge this is what we are doing at Technical University of Mombasa. As faculty and students, innovation in education invites us to explore, research, and engage all available tools to uncover new things. It involves a different way of looking at problems and solving them. The thinking process that goes into it is what we need to help students to develop their creativity and their problem-solving skills. Innovation is not creating something from nothing. It is seeking new hypotheses to test by deconstructing and researching existing phenomena. As Vadim Polikov in Innovation in Education is more than a new approach affirms, proving or disapproving hypotheses with a strong, rigorous research is the best way to move education forward. Innovation, therefore, improves education because it compels students to use higher level of thinking to solve problems. Let me look at some examples of innovation in education. Perhaps I should start by saying, critics of forums such as this one we have today will find a problem when I say innovation includes finding better ways of doing something and new ways to look at problems. Lest I be construed, accused of engaging in academic gibberish worth of nothing except its romantic tone, I wish to give an example of innovation from this story of students building recycling bins to support sustainability. This is what the students do. One, they identified problems with the waste management program, researched solutions, and created an advertising plan to promote their solution with help from other areas of the school, such as robotics and broadcasting. This is when we are taking curriculum, not just actually in its unitary state, but cutting across all other units within the university to help bring in the element of interdisciplinarity. This introduces, therefore, the next angle to innovation in education. That's the application of project-based learning. I believe this is what Madam Vice Chancellor Font refers to as applied research and learning. Indeed, project-based learning is key to spurring innovation and creative thinking. Instead of working on a single project in a maths class, project-based learning combines multiple disciplines in one project. It promotes active and deeper learning. Learning exposes us to a host of new idealistic ideas regarding life. A teacher came up with a project she called Build Your Own Utopia. In the project, students create their own utopian community and try to sway other students to move there. This project involves designing the community, creating a government and educational system, describing their neighborhoods, outlining employment, deciding on the climate for the community, and identifying technology views. Now, when you look at this creates actually a total relationship between engineering, School of Engineering, School of Applied Science, business, and even humanities. Because when you look at this, all disciplines are combined, they're brought together. Writing, maths, social studies, science, and art. In doing this, students think through everything it takes to build a city or a country. They learn about their current government and communities by contrasting them with the ideal society they create. Many examples exist, but those are just a few. So how do we encourage innovation in our learning or in doing our programs? Many institutions, I would say, avoid innovation, and those who support it hardly go beyond the mention of it on paper. I wish to suggest that policy not merely make a demand for innovation from its faculty members and students, but should create opportunities and incentives for folks to design different and better learning experiences. I believe here at Technical University of Mombasa, this is the new culture that is being created by the Office of PRI. Instead of simply teaching ABC and 1, 2, 3s, let us go beyond the basics by combining a variety of disciplines to come up with a new, different outcome. Knowledge of the basics is a starting point. Students use knowledge and concepts to find solutions by exploring until they find their best answers. How can we incorporate innovation and technology in our learning and research culture? I guess by seeking ways to encourage inclusive innovation. By inclusive innovation, I mean including groups that are currently marginalized in some aspects of innovation process. STI for Sustainable Development requires that innovation, the various actors or stakeholders be involved in STI activities so that outputs and outcomes of the processes are acceptable to them. In reality, I'm looking at democratization of innovation, making it participatory, hence available to every citizen. Creating innovation processes that take innovation from the premises of institutions of higher learning into communities, creating avenues for knowledge with and for communities for the betterment of those communities. It is making innovation a processorial encounter as opposed to a product which is only reported to communities. I believe Technical University of Mombasa is endowed with what it takes to drive this agenda, not only for sustainable communities in the coastal region, but in Africa as a whole. And this can only be through critical reflection of our academic programs to enable them to be more project-oriented and multidisciplinary than what we have now. A curriculum that will look into the processes of learning as opposed to the product of learning. The answer is not in how many graduates we give to the job market, but the sound of the numerous innovative encounters engaged in by our graduates as they change their communities. Let me conclude by quoting poet William Butler Yeats, which is fitting parallel for the role of innovation in education. Education should not be the filling of a bucket, but the lighting of a fire. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lutsili, for such a wonderful speech. Now, as I had mentioned earlier, that we have so much lined up for you, but let me not forget maybe to once again repeat that we are live on our YouTube, that is TUM TV KE. Ensure that you look for us, search for us there, and you'll be able to follow everything that is happening live as it happens. The next that we are about to show you, it's very important that you, for those students that are seeking to join TUM and for those who have already joined, you don't have to wait until your last final year or final project for you to participate in innovation. It's very important that you join this club, whether you are in first year or whichever year, so that you'll be able to come up with your own project, because that is what we as Technical University of Mombasa are trying to do. We are, as part of our mission, we are trying to come up with innovations that will help solve the societal problems. So let's have the innovation or the project to run.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Victor Kipkogei. I'm here to present to you a voice control system. This voice control system is a system that can be used in a wheelchair. For example, those people who are disabled. We have various cases whereby people suffer various injuries. For example, people who suffer from quadriplegic, multisclerosis, or cerebral palsy. These people, the only muscles they can move is up to their neck. Otherwise, their limbs cannot be able to move. They cannot be able to move even their legs, even their toes. So these people, they are normally subjected to wheelchairs, and for them to achieve locomotion, maybe from one place to another, these people require assistance, like all the time. Even when they are at home, they cannot be able to perform tasks and duties by themselves. For example, if he or she is in a room and wants to turn on the lights, she has to call for assistance. Come and turn on the lights, or come and turn off the fan. So I came up with a system whereby they can use their voice with just at a certain position fixed to the microphone. Whenever they speak a command, an action is being taken. For example, now in a wheelchair we have commands like forward, turn, maybe reverse. If they can just be, with their comfort at the wheelchair, they can just give a voice command, and the wheelchair moves depending on whichever command they have given it. Also, it is also subject to also houses. You know, the place that they stay in can also be automated using this system, in that they can turn on the lights using their voice. They can just say lights on and the lights will go on. They can say lights off and the lights will go off. Fans on, fans off. Water run and water stop. So this voice control system works whereby a command is given, and when the command is captured by only that single person who trained it, it can only recognize the voice of that specific person, in that when another person comes in, he or she cannot give the same command, and that same action can take place. That is now with voice recognition module. But with speech is the same as the one that we use in our phones, whereby if I can take your phone and use Google speech, I can be able to Google something. So speech gives space or room for different voices. But with voice, that same voice that was captured, it's the only same voice that can be used in a command. So even when when the user goes outside there, and maybe by coincidence somebody speaks a command that was trained, you know, it will not be able to perform because it is not the same tone as that of the same person. So with me here is a simulation of the voice control system. I have used an ultrasonic sensor. So whenever there's an obstacle in front, the wheelchair will stop. And these LEDs here can also demonstrating that when I put my hand like this, you see these red LEDs blinking, showing that there's an obstacle. So when I say a command like forward, it doesn't move. But when I say forward, so there was an obstacle there. Done.
Command it again.
My name is Laila from the Faculty of Applied and Health Sciences. I'm taking a course in industrial microbiology and biotechnology, and I have come up with a formulation that is a spray that works as an air freshener and a disinfecting agent as well. My formulation is multi-purpose. It can be used as a toilet seat spray. Now, when you use this formulation in higher concentration of the active ingredients, it works as a detergent, as a bleach, and also as an air freshener. So it eliminates the use of detergents, bleaching agents, and also disinfecting agents, because this formulation kills 100% of microorganisms that are present in toilet seats. In low concentration of the active ingredients, my formulation can be used in sanitizers, especially in this period of coronavirus. And also, I'm infusing natural bio-oils. My formulation degrades to naturally occurring compounds, that is water and oxygen. So, there's lavender oil infusions, peppermint oil infusions, and lemongrass infusions. And I can also create a formulation that has a mixture of these infusions. The problem that I am solving with this formulation is health. As we all know, it is better to prevent something or a disease like corona than trying to treat it. Some of these infections, like bacterial infections, may cause antibiotic resistance, which is very hard to combat, which may lead to mortality rates going high. This formulation can combat that, including reproductive pathogens that cause urinary tract infections, candidiasis, and such of those infections that you may contract in public toilets. My formulation is portable, especially you can use it as a pocket sanitizer, a pocket disinfectant that you can carry around, especially during these times that everyone has to go to work and use of public toilets is inevitable. Okay, you can carry these formulations anywhere you go. It can also be used to sanitize table surfaces or chairs or stair rails. Yes, thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Mungirwa Tanasias Maingi from Faculty of Engineering and Technology. I'm from Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. I'm presenting an innovation by the title Picohydro Power Production. Picohydro is a term used to describe power under 5 kilowatts. And with this innovation, you can produce power anywhere in the country, even in Northeastern where there is a minimum water. So you can produce power anywhere. My project is, my innovation is addressing a very critical issue in the country. It is touching on the Big Four agenda, the manufacturing part, and the Vision 2030. To be an industrialized nation, you need power, and you cannot manufacture without power too. And this idea tricked my mind when I realized very big projects, even the state projects, could not run smoothly because there is no power in some remote areas. For example, the laptop initiative for the kids, it needed to pick up because some places, some primary schools were so remote and there was no power and grid, the grid supply was not in that place. So with this innovation, you can produce power to those places where there is no grid reaching there for their own use. So you can produce this power for an institution like school, for an hospital, for an industry, for a small town, maybe starting even in very remote areas, and that brings about growth and the technology that we need today. To understand this innovation, you really need to understand what happens in the hydros, in the hydroelectric power production power stations. First of all, what is currently happening in the hydros is that they build where there are power a river flowing, or there is a water flow somewhere, maybe a river, and they build a reservoir to tap that water, and they use that kinetic energy from the water to run the turbines, and the turbines rotates the generator. The generator produces electricity, and the electricity then is fed to the appliances, to the consumer loads. And the main issue for power engineers, they will tell me, or they will know that the main challenge that comes about in power production is to maintain frequency to 50 hertz according to the Kenyan energy regulations. All the energy or the power, the electricity that you use must be running at 50 hertz. So how they do it today is that they limit the amount of water hitting the turbines such that the required only amount of power to be used is the one being produced. But in my case, so they limit the rotation of the generator to the power that is they want to use. But in my case, I don't limit the production of power. I let all the power to be produced, the generator to run at its maximum. Then I control frequency by use of dummy loads on the consumer part, by use of dummy loads. And dummy load is like a sacrificial load, whereby if we have two equipments that needs to run, let's say a generator and a pump. So my pump has to go, if the power is not enough, a pump has to go off automatically so that the generator can run. After the generator is done with its process, then my dummy load can come on again automatically and continue. So a dummy load will go on, off or on to allow the main component or the consumer component to be running. So I use the dummy loads. So after the generation, I feed the consumer loads and the dummy loads with the electricity that have been produced. So let's say if I am powering 100 homes, it means when all the 100 homes, the equipment in the 100 homes or the 100 equipments are on, the generator should be running at 50 hertz, at the speed of 50 hertz. I mean the frequency of 50 hertz. And if all the equipments are off, all my dummy loads should be, if all my dummy loads are on, the generator should be running at 50 hertz. So they will be sacrificing each other. If the consumer starts putting off their loads, then my dummy load starts coming on automatically to maintain the frequency of the generator at 50 hertz. So, you know, according to standard, speed of the generator is given there by 120 F over P, where P is a number of poles of the generator and which is constant. And 120 is also a constant, it's a value and it's a constant. That means the speed of the generator is directly proportional to the frequency. So if you can control the speed of the generator, you have controlled the frequency of production. So, and again through standard, is the more you load the generator, the slower it will tend to run. If you release the components, the faster the generator will tend to run. So the same criteria I'm using here. When the customers are loading the equipment, they are putting the equipment on, the generator will start slowing, and then my dummy loads will start going off automatically. And if the dummy loads, if they started again switching off, the generator, it means it is being released, it will go faster, and my dummy loads will start coming on automatically. Now, this, here comes the most encouraging bit of my innovation. How am I using these dummy loads? I'm not wasting power by letting these dummy loads to come on. After the water has hit the turbines, then initially what is happening, just the water flows along the river, with the river. But in my case, if, for example, if in places where there is no water, I create a reservoir. Then that kinetic energy hides the turbines, the power is produced. Then that flow of water, the water after it has been used, it is again collected in another dam. So when customers are not using the produced power, my dummy loads are all on. I use them as pumps to pump water back to the reservoir. So that tells you there is a continuous flow of energy production at 50 hertz, and again the water which has been used is again being pumped back to the reservoir. So that tells you at any given time, power is being produced at 50 hertz, and again it's being pumped back to the reservoir. That means that will be a continuous process. Every time power is produced at 50 hertz, every time water is being pumped back. So even in places where there is no water, you can create a reservoir and a dam, and the process will just repeat itself. And that's how this project, this innovation is very practical, and according to me, it is inevitable. If actually the implementation of the project is inevitable, if actually we are serious with the Big Four agenda, the Vision 2030, and providing citizens with high quality life, with clean environment and security. So maybe if I can demonstrate how the innovation works, how the dummy loans will be releasing themselves and how customers will be coming on and off automatically. You can see in this innovation, the prototype that I've built is that when the speed, this RPM is revolutions per minute. When the speed of the generator is below 50, there will be no dummy loans. That means all the customers are using the equipment. Power is being used to the maximum. That means my dummy loans should be off because the generator is already running at 50 hertz. And when the speed of generator starts rising, maybe from 50 to 100, that means some customers have switched off their machines and my generator is running very fast. So that means my dummy loans, one dummy loan should come on to compensate for that equipment that have went off so that the frequency can be maintained at 50. Above 120 to 210, another dummy loan should come on. Above 210, all the dummy loans should be on. That means all the customers have switched off the equipment, maybe they are asleep, and all my dummy loans should be on. My dummy loans now, at that time, they are busy pumping water back to the reservoir. So, and that's how it will be. When the customers start switching on the equipment, then they will start going down, switching off again automatically. So, what I'm doing here is a representative of customers now putting on the equipment. And no, that's an electrical noise. You see now the frequency it's at 168, it's above 120 but below 210, and 2 dummy loans are already on. If I start increasing the number of customers who are, reducing, another dummy loan comes on. You can see the frequency, it's above 210, it's at 225, the speed, and I have my full dummy loans on. That means all the customers are off. If I start reducing the equipment, then the dummy loans should start coming off automatically. You see, it's now below 210 and 1 dummy loan is off. If I continue reducing the equipment, see, another dummy loan is off. And if I continue, all the dummy loans are off. And if I increase, the process repeats itself again.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Victor Kipkogei. I'm here to present to you a voice control system. This voice control system is a system that can be used in a wheelchair. For example, those people who are disabled. We have various cases whereby people suffer various injuries. For example, people who suffer from quadriplegic, multisclerosis, or cerebral palsy. These people, the only muscles they can move is up to their neck. Otherwise, their limbs cannot be able to move. They cannot be able to move even their legs, even their toes. So these people, they are normally subjected to wheelchairs, and for them to achieve locomotion, maybe from one place to another, these people require assistance, like all the time. Even when they are at home, they cannot be able to perform tasks and duties by themselves. For example, if he or she is in a room and wants to turn on the lights, she has to call for assistance. Come and turn on the lights, or come and turn off the fan. So I came up with a system whereby they can use their voice with just at a certain position fixed to the microphone. Whenever they speak a command, an action is being taken. For example, now in a wheelchair we have commands like forward, turn, maybe reverse. If they can just be, with their comfort at the wheelchair, they can just give a voice command, and the wheelchair moves depending on whichever command they have given it. Also, it is also subject to also houses. You know, the place that they stay in can also be automated using this system, in that they can turn on the lights using their voice. They can just say lights on and the lights will go on. They can say lights off and the lights will go off. Fans on, fans off. Water run and water stop. So this voice control system works whereby a command is given, and when the command is captured by only that single person who trained it, it can only recognize the voice of that specific person, in that when another person comes in, he or she cannot give the same command, and that same action can take place. That is now with voice recognition module. But with speech is the same as the one that we use in our phones, whereby if I can take your phone and use Google speech, I can be able to Google something. So speech gives space or room for different voices, but with voice, that same voice that was captured, it's the only same voice that can be used in a command. So even when when the user goes outside there, and maybe by coincidence somebody speaks a command that was trained, you know, it will not be able to perform because it is not the same tone as that of the same person. So with me here is a simulation of the voice control system. I have used an ultrasonic sensor, so whenever there's an obstacle in front, the wheelchair will stop. And these LEDs here can also demonstrating that when I put my hand like this, you see this red LED is blinking, showing that there's an obstacle. So when I say a command like forward, it doesn't move. But when I say forward, so there was an obstacle there. Turn.
Command it again.
My name is Owili Jasin. I'm a fourth year medical engineering.
My name is Kipori Kijon. I'm a fifth year student awaiting graduation.
My name is Jim Murungi Gitonga, fifth year awaiting graduation.
Our innovation is a medical ventilator that we developed during COVID-19. There was increased demand for medical ventilators as most companies in the Europe resorted to manufacturing ventilators. So there was need for us now to use the locally available materials to come up with a ventilator. So I will demonstrate for you how it works. Okay.
Okay, this ventilator is using the BVM, the back
mask valve.
Okay, so this ventilator, when you put it on, it will be able to be compressing the back. So as it is compressing, it is dispersing the air that is inside. This ventilator has two inlets of, one of them is oxygen, and the other one is the normal air. The normal air. So the cylinder will be connected to one of the cylinders, one of the piping, and then the other one will be connected to the normal air. So this oxygen that is from the cylinder will be passed through the ventilator, through the piping, and it will be able, we have the motors that has been arranged in such a way that it will be running concurrently. So as it is running concurrently, it is compressing this oxygen inside the bag. So as it is compressing, once it is connected to the patient, it will be able to be just supporting the patient to breathe. So on the demonstration side,
also there is a part of FiO2, which is a sensor for measuring the oxygen. In case one of the oxygen is not enough, there are two relays that are supposed to power on. If one is not enough, it's supposed to allow the other one being remitted, that it can allow the amount of oxygen required, because on the first screen here is supposed to monitor the oxygen amount. If the oxygen is not enough according to the patient body, then it will be able to power then you need the system, and the oxygen will be powered more. That you realize COVID patient require oxygen. So it will be able to calculate and say, okay, this patient needs this amount of oxygen. So even the motors themselves can be actualized or be activated to power more of the oxygen.
Okay, on this other screen, we have where we'll be monitoring the respiration rate. We have the IE, that is the inspiration, expiration rate. We also have the what?
RR.
The RR, the respiration rate. So like normal patient depends on the age, because for the young people, the breathing rate is usually high. So this ventilator is able to be used either for the young, that is the children, and then for the adult. So because we have these modes, we have for the child and then for the adult. So
we will demonstrate it for you, you see. We are powering the system. The motors are fast checking. Already actualized. It's showing me it is going at 47 ml. Then the oxygen is at 20%.
So we'll be using these as our test lung. So we are able to choose, we are able to select if we are ventilating an adult or a child, a unit. So we have knob selection here. So right now we are ventilating an adult. We can turn it to do for a unit. Then you're also able to adjust the tidal volume. And also the RR.
Respiration rate, because for the child, the respiration rate is usually high. That's why this is the child. It's moving faster.
And you might be wondering, what is this balloon? This one is a model of representation of the lungs. This is how the lungs are getting pumped in, pumped out, pumped in, pumped out. And the part of the tidal volume here is to ensure that the lungs are not empty, because you can't empty the lungs. When you empty the lungs, they collapse. So we ensure there's some minimal air left so that the lungs can't collapse.
Yes, so our innovation is addressing manufacturing and affordable healthcare. So we recommend the government to actually pick up this idea and start manufacturing ventilators locally. Our message to young students, to new students, is it's either you innovate or die. Each and every sector is affected by technology. So the only way to survive is to innovate. Thank you very much.
And also, again, as we finalize, is that while we are developing this, we also developed another product of machine learning. It was comparing pneumonia images, again, normal images, and COVID images. You realize right now you might go to an hospital, you test positive for pneumonia, but yet you are told it is COVID, right? So we built also another machine learning model software, even if it was not used anywhere, but we built it, we have it already, that could be able to tell this image as pneumonia, this image as COVID. So it could be able to tell the difference between pneumonia and the COVID. So those were the two products we came with during the during March to April period. My name is Jim Murungi Gitonga from the Department of Medical Engineering. I finished my 5th year. I realized most of the people are being misdiagnosed with pneumonia. So I decided and I looked and checked, because the patient would go, they will be told of a different disease. They go today, they be told of a different disease. Tomorrow, of a different disease, of which pneumonia can be confused with other chest diseases, which are 14. So it simply means with that, the doctor might be biased. All the eye problems, they might misdiagnose the disease of the patient. And now from that point, I realize now we need to include and incorporate machine learning. Machine learning or deep learning is whereby you train the computer, you give it instructions such that if it gets an image that has got those possibilities of what you are looking for, it gives it a 1. If it doesn't, it gives it a 0. But now that 1 is between 1, it's in terms of 0 to 100%. If it's so intense, it will be 1. If it is in between, it will give it a certain probability of 0 point something. Now, from that point, now after I realized that, I correcting data from the cargo, which is the FDA in America. Then from that point, the data set, I trained it. It took like 2 days to complete the training and the validation, and I tested all of it. And then from that point, I got the model of what I was working for. Now, what do I mean by that model that I got from the data? The model was simply this, the equivalent of it, of that training, the average of everything, such that now the computer could be able to identify which image has pneumonia and which image doesn't have pneumonia. And all of this, remember, I'm using machine learning, which is the algorithms that in between it. Now, from that point, the model that I got from it, I built a software. From it now, I used to build it a software. Now, the software that I built, it's just like getting that model, cross-checking using it. If it gets any image that has pneumonia, one of the things it will do is it will do the heat map to an image. Like it will tell if an image has pneumonia. And then on the part of the heat map, it will be able to help the doctor in this way. If because the computer will be able to tell the doctor, I have classified this image as pneumonia because of 1, 2, 3. Are you getting the point? Now, then again, it will be able to tell the doctor, check position A, check position B, check position C. Now, and those positions, all of them, you will see there is yellow part and the heat maps on it. And that's what all of it. And now from that, I built the software of it now. And now the software is running, it can be able to detect the pneumonia. Now, the software works this way. There is the login, whereby the doctor will need to log in into the system. After they log in into the system, then they will be met by patient details. They will need to key the patient details such as surname, age, locality, phone number, then the gender. Now, from that point, after let us enter the details. After that, they'll need to save those details. Now, from that point, what they'll need to go to the next step. And the next step is now to get the image that has been taken by the CT machine, which is a computer tomography or the X-ray machine. Now, that image, they just pick the images that have been, and then those images, they need to, after they select them, we need to go and select. We are selecting the images. Then, when they select the image will be processed. And when it will be processed, then there will be now the outcomes or the probability of. Like here, my image shows me, my image has got a probability of like around 90.4% pneumonia. Now, and then it has got a normal, then it has, the normal is 0.09. So the highest probability here is pneumonia. So this shows this image as pneumonia. And on this part, this image can be saved, which now is, when you save it, you can rename it again. Then the doctor might ask, why has the computer to send this image is a pneumonia? You know why? Why? You know, those are the question why. Now, they need to run the cross-check now to validate using the other part of the heat maps, of which now we need to run them and check why did the computer classify it as a pneumonia, why did it classify it as normal. And with that, we'll need to see, there is a folder here, I'll get it. Now from that, I'm running the program. Now, when the program is ran, one of the things you'll note on the images is simply this, that when you check at all those images that are being generated, because it will generate all the images that will be generated, you'll check and see where the computer targeted when it was classifying images, this and this as pneumonia, image this and this as this and this, image this and this as this and this. And now it is showing me the results of the analysis. It's a blue, red color, white is the where the intensity of the colors are. And now from that point, the doctor can make a decision if this patient has pneumonia or no pneumonia. Now from that point, then we go to the other part of the web-based. For example, the doctor might not be having an accessory of a computer, but they need to have a mobile phone. Now, for example, this one can be hosted on a server where the doctor needs to run it and get they just need to go to the link that I've created. From that link, they can get the image. Let's go to that point. The images of the patients. Now, my server is on. The website is on. It's already powered. If I share the link with you, you can be able to access the website right now. Now, I need to get the image. Now, I process the image over the web. It is showing me now the image is at 0.95% of the pneumonia. So the image is infected. Now you see the machine learning can tell the doctor even to the extent. That percentage shows this, the extent the disease has gone. Then to the incoming innovators, I want to say this. University teachers, students, all the people in the university innovates. God bless you.
Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth Muli, a student at the Technical University of Mombasa, Faculty of Applied and Health Sciences, Department of Maths and Physics, undertaking a Bachelor's of Technology in Applied Physics, Electronics and Instrumentation. My innovation today is the sensor-based parking system for cars. Before I go on, I want to highlight some of the problems that I've encountered as a car owner. One problem that I've found out to be common among us is when you want to go to the mall, and maybe there's an event, or maybe it's during the weekend. You want to park your car, but you'll go through the parking area and find that there's no slot for you, and you have to leave and go to another mall or find another parking area so that you can come back later. Another problem that I've faced is at times you may park your car in the morning, but at the evening when you come and you want to leave the parking area, you are unable. This is because the person that has parked behind you has parked so recklessly that you cannot maneuver out of the parking area. And this gives you a lot of stress, and you're like, why should I wait for the person who parked behind me to come move his car in order for me to pass? These are problems that I, as a consumer, am not supposed to encounter at all. And due to this, I came up with a system that is able to tell you before you enter a parking area, will I find a slot there? And if the answer is yes, once I have found my slot in the parking area, how am I supposed to park? Am I too close to the yellow lines? Am I disturbing the person that has parked before me? Am Am I the person who's causing problems to the person that wants to pass and go to the other lane? I don't want to be that person. And that is why today I came up with this system, and I want to show you how it works. So I used a number of sensors and transistors and some lights. These lights are my actuators. In other cases, instead of lights, you can use counters or any other circuits that you find more applicable in your case. So my two boards represent two parking areas each, slot 1, slot 2, slot 3, and slot 4. So once the parking area is empty, my lights are off, and my sensor is sensing that there's nothing. But once I think I'll demonstrate using my finger because my breadboards are a bit smaller. So once there's a car in the wrong place, the buzzer goes off until the owner of that car So if someone has parked correctly, the lights will be on to show the other person that is supposed to come that parking area is taken. And if you have maybe a screen or a counter system, it will show at the door that this number of slots are occupied. But if someone occupies when the person is on the yellow line, the buzzer will go off and it will keep on buzzing until the person parks correctly. So my message to students that are behind me is the number of cars is growing, and it's the dream of every person to own a car in future. But one thing you should also know is, in as much as we are bringing these cars, in as much as the production is large and people are buying more cars, this is causing a lot of pollution to the environment, and we should opt to other things that you can use to navigate, such as bicycles that do not pollute the environment, or maybe we can come up with electric cars, and also we can come up with more digital parking systems that are maybe story-like. Yeah, that is all for today.
Now we are proceeding to the next. We have our very own, who is our alumni, who started as an innovator within our university, but now is outside there in the industry doing wonderful things. That just to challenge you that if you come in, when you leave this Technical University of Mombasa, you join the industry, you will be somebody who will not only, as the Vice Chancellor had already said, not only a job seeker, but also a job creator. You will create opportunities and employment for others. Let me take this opportunity to welcome our very own Paul Akwabi. Feel most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I am honored actually to be part of this innovation, second TUM Innovation Day. And to me, this is more of a dream come true, because back then we never had such a platform. Though since I joined TUM, I think before then, there's been that culture of innovativeness and innovations. I'll introduce myself and start from how it started up to where I am now. My name is Paul Akwabi. As you have heard the introduction, I'm the CEO of Tech Kids Africa. And Tech Kids Africa is a technology academy for children and teenagers who are curious in innovations. We train on robotics, coding, artificial intelligence, and online safety. Now, I'll go back. When I was in Form 3, I was in a boarding school. It was at tea break when I bought a mandazi. and it was wrapped with a newspaper. After eating that, because I had just remained with the 10 shillings after buying that mandazi, I was reading the newspaper that was used to wrap the mandazi, and I read about the Mombasa Polytechnic University College was the best in robotics in the National Universities and Colleges robotics competition. I can't remember the newspaper, what newspaper it was, because as I've told you, it was just a piece of newspaper. So it didn't actually cut up to that point whereby you can see the name of the newspaper. But what amazed me is about the robotics bit, because since I was a kid at 11 years old, I used to even block my aunt's phone. I used to open the radio and the TV to just see what, to try and understand what is happening in. So I felt like, because at Form 3 and Form 4, I think everyone can understand that is a time that you're really thinking about who are you going to be or what do you want to ever be. So this is the time I thought so much about Mombasa Polytechnic University then. And I was like, I've never gone to Mombasa. I've been born and raised in Nairobi, and I was studying actually in Western, then at high school. So I was thinking about Mombasa in a different way, in an innovative perspective. Me coming here, maybe after high school, it was a dream that I never knew how it will work. And also being actually living from a challenged background, since my dad had passed on, and we're really also struggling back as we were growing. But I had a dream. I was this boy who had a dream. I finished my high school, still with so much passion, and looking forward one day to join Technical University of Mombasa, which was Mombasa Polytechnic University then. Yes, finally, I came to register. I wanted to register on mechatronic. Then they didn't have a right quorum, but I didn't want to go back. I wanted any course that is just within. So I was to choose either electronics or ICT, which was the in course then. So I chose information communication technology as a course. I started with a different focus. I had a great dream, which I couldn't know exactly how I'm going to package it. I didn't know how I'll be facing the world, but what I knew strongly is I was at the right place, at the right platform for me to exercise any kind of innovation or innovativeness I had in me. So I was this humble boy who was so curious, trying to learn each and everything that comes across. Within my second year, I came up with an innovation, which was the TUM Digital Academic Student Handbook. And I gave the university for free, simply because I thought it is also part and parcel of me adding value to the university that I'm in. I had just learned how to make mobile applications, which was not, of course, part of even the units we were being taught, but at least the units that we were taught were among the introduction on programming. And that introduction would give you a leeway of you going out there and learning more. So I learned the rest on YouTube. So after creating the mobile application, gave Technical University of Mombasa for free. To me, it was just to test, can my idea work? Because at times it's not about money, it's about, can your idea work? Can any institution think that you are capable of doing anything? That is the first thing that I thought about myself. So when Technical University of Mombasa believed in me, and they took the idea, it started working. We added on a notification bit where the administration is able to communicate to the students. It was a learning also platform for me at the same time. Now, I remember in my department and also the faculty we were, I was the first to bring a trophy on the best in ICT and entrepreneurship on TVET Fair, both regionally and nationally. To me, that was something communicating to me that for you to be exposed this much, there is something even out there for you, not just in here at the university. So I started to think more about industry. I'm aware I'm talking about bridging the gap between on the industry and the academic side and commercialization. That's where a lot of students usually have some challenge. As we have seen a lot of innovations that have been presented before I started talking, most of them are very good innovations that we dream one day for them to go out there. But I'll tell you for a fact, we need a strategy out here. Out here, innovation is not enough. We need a strategy at the end of the day. And that is what I'm trying to talk about. So when I was just along, I'm giving my story and my advice using the same story so that you guys understand, since you're on the same platform. So here I am. The best thing that TUM ever did to me, I can say, is the exhibition moments. I went severally to exhibit at the Mombasa International SK Show. I went severally to exhibit in Nairobi International Fair show still. But for you to go to Nairobi, it was after you've been chosen to be among the best projects within. And so many, sometimes even the Vice Chancellor could have visitors and they thought maybe my innovation is worth actually being showcased to any of the visitors within. So I was like all over with this innovation. It wasn't about money. It was about, can people resonate with my idea? Can people think that what I'm doing actually is worthwhile being done? So there is, along the way, when now I was doing all this, there is some investors who are moving in universities in East Africa from Norway. And they came to Technical University of Mombasa. Then it was the same day Technical University of Mombasa was receiving a charter. So no one had time with them because everyone is waiting for the president to come and give the university the charter. And these investors were asking, can we have a student who's good in innovation and especially in technology and programming? Apparently, this is the time I can tell you guys as students, this is where preparation meets opportunity. The head of innovation then, who was Dr. Matoka, gave out my number and told them, this is the student I strongly believe in. You can proceed and work with him. And that one was among the beginning of everything that changed in me. The investor I'm talking about is the investor behind TechBridge Innovation Hub, which is at City Mall. This is a true story that exists and we have evidences within. And a lot of innovations, actually, I think 80% and above, which are incubated right now there, actually have come from TUM. The first TechBridge challenge, it's me here who assisted them to organize. We worked everything from the beginning to come up with it. Now, that's not the story. The story is, from these investors, I was able to also be exposed on different innovation events, one of them being the International Oil and Gas Conference, which I was also having a talk there. It was, and also different trainings with Scandinavian investors and so many other things. It opened my eyes in how we are doing things here in Kenya, both as a student and both as a business person. And I realized that there's so many things that we are not putting in practice. But with all this knowledge, I knew that there are so many ways and strategies that you can always survive out with. I'll repeat, it's not enough to have an innovative idea. This market strategy is what speaks all. At this juncture, I'll give a story. I'll give a story of two people, actually two ladies. Both of them are selling tomatoes. One of them is so rugged, she's poor, but she's selling also tomatoes that are not ripened. And she's there seeking for sympathy for you to buy tomatoes. There's another one who's just beside her, who is a bit rich. Actually, she has just parked her car just beside where she's selling the tomatoes. And the tomatoes are so good, there's none which is spoiled. And she's selling also at a fair price. When you come to buy these tomatoes, I think both of you agree with me. You'll go for tomatoes which look good. You can volunteer to give a shilling or two to this one just to donate, but you cannot take spoiled tomatoes. That is what the world is out here. It doesn't matter where you come from. No one sympathizes with you. So the way you package yourself matters so much. The way you present yourself matters. No one wants to sympathize with you. When you go to seek for a job and you're not in suit because you don't own a suit, no one will want to listen to you. Everybody wants to be associated with somebody who has packaged himself in a way. You are able to get actually a job, you're able to be recommended somewhere, even if you have borrowed the cloth that you're wearing, so long as you just look good. So the looks, and when I talk about the looks, it's not about even physical or how you wear. I talk about even how you're presenting the ideas. So whenever I remember when I was talking much about my ideas and innovations, I could talk in relation to local and international, how it's able to also affect the entire ecosystem. I remember on the Digital Academic Student Handbook, I could talk about how it can bring the international exchange program between different universities through the same platform. So it is about how you are trying to package it. Okay, I'll go just back again. I've been introduced to this investor. This investor is investing in, not in the company I'm working on, but also in me because he believes in me and because of the ideas I had. When I met with him, I had 32 ideas, which I strongly believe that these ideas will work no matter what. Though he told me, you cannot be jack of all trades. You have to narrow those ideas to at least 4. That is among the hardest exam than all the exams I've ever done while at Technical University of Mombasa, trust me, including the electronic exams. So, but I learned how investors work. I learned how ideas work. You might have 50 ideas. It doesn't mean that you'll never do all of them. Prioritize. Look at what is the low-hanging fruit. I know most innovators, you have a lot of ideas. At times, then you end up falling with different ideas, falling in love with different ideas. Don't fall in love with any idea, because whenever you are falling in love with anything, you'd always defend that thing even whenever it's wrong. This is a story everyone knows. Most students here, you are teenagers and you know, at times your mother can tell you, don't walk with that boy, don't walk with that girl. And you say like, but mom, that guy is, then later you come back crying. Why? You are not resonating with your mother. Why? Because you are in love. Whenever you are in love, it's so hard for you to defend it's so hard for you to actually get any advice from anyone, an advice that will make a lot of sense. So what is there is, as much as you have your idea, give room for any conversation, for any talk, listen to advices. If it's something that is not actually, maybe it has not yet arrived, take time. For example, I'll talk about Tech Kids Africa. In 2013, I had the idea, but everybody was telling me, but you see, Kenya has not reached a point whereby kids can be able to learn robotics and coding. That is something that is happening in first world countries. They wanted to bring the first world countries here today in a third world country. I took time. The idea started 2017, when at least everything, the structures and the ecosystem were able to support such an idea, such a platform. So at some point, at some time, you have to wait because of the right time. At some point, you have to listen to people whenever, and also don't, whenever you start something, take time. Be patient. It takes a lot of patience for anything to ever work out. I'll talk about Tech Kids Africa itself. When we started, I didn't know much about even creating curriculums. What I knew is I want to impact some knowledge, some skills, because I remembered at the age of 11, blocking my aunt's phone and being punished. And here I would like to give a platform to a kid who's so curious and would like to nurture his talent. So what from that point, I learned so many things. So what I'm trying to also express to you guys is, whenever you're in this industry and you want to also make it with your innovation, try to learn to unlearn the things you knew and relearn some of the new things that are coming out in market. The school is just to teach you the basic way of doing things and to open your mind so that you can accommodate any other thing and so that you can be dynamic as you move along actually in market. We've been able to train a couple of kids. Most of you know this program called Lions Den. We have had 5 kids presenting their innovation ideas who are teenagers to investors, and all of them got funded. We have had a chance whereby there's a student who has been actually sponsored by Stanford University to go to Stanford University to learn for free out of his innovativeness. He was the best in coding in Young Scientist Kenya last year, and he went to Ireland to present the idea. To me, is someone being innovative, deciding to assist another innovator who's so young, and the innovator rises up successfully. I'm someone who believes strongly in innovations. I'm someone who believes strongly that actually TUM is among universities that are going to produce the next Zuckerbergs of Africa, the next Bill Gates, the next Elon Musk, and so many other innovative minds that are going to come from Africa. Though it starts from yourself. What do you think about yourself at the end of the day when you're seated down, minus any camera around, minus even that innovation of yours that many people usually tell you it's good? What do you think about yourself? What do you want yourself? Are you comfortable in what you're doing? Because anytime you want your innovation to come out here in market, you need to sacrifice. You need to be generous. Most of the trainers at Tech Kids Africa are university students, and 70% of them are from Technical University of Mombasa student fraternity. And I'll tell you, there are times we do projects, almost $1 million project, worth $1 million. I end up not getting even 1 shilling out of the entire project, but I've made sure everyone else is paid. What do you learn with that? What you learn is about being generous and being mean at times to yourself for the sake of the entire idea, for the sake of what you're investing on. There's a day you will sleep hungry and you have 20 million in your bank account, which is meant for the project. So it's something about money is not supposed to be a like a factor, though it is, yes, of course, a motivator, but it's not supposed to be a factor. Invest more on the idea working out. After the idea working out, you'll definitely get different ways of getting money. Like I'll tell you, most of even how I've been able to make money is out of being called somewhere as an individual, as a consultant, because I did something and that thing worked out. But on the project side, you need to make a lot of sacrifices. I've seen what you guys are doing, from the ventilator guys and the others. You guys are doing amazing things. What it takes is go back, do enough research, ask all stakeholders, everybody within the ecosystem, on what next or what you can be able to do. Is this guy with actually this the wheelchair for the wheelchair? Try to work actually around with also personal disability organizations. You realize there's so much funds there, there's so much opportunities that you never even understood they do exist. I take this chance to thank you so much, and I strongly believe that especially all innovations that have been presented today, we'll be talking the next year at same time, we'll be talking about great companies that have come up. I'm glad forever and every time to be associated with TUM in the culture of innovations. And I'm ready here to assist anyone to walk this journey, and I'll be with you in everything and every challenge that you're going through. Otherwise, thank you so much. Thank you, the PRI department. and every other person, and the Vice Chancellor for believing in us as students and also innovators from TUM. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Paul Akwabi. You've heard for yourself. Just to add a little bit that in the words of Jay's Summit, new ideas for innovation grow out of the minds of each new generation. Having an institution of higher learning that can help young people put those ideas into action is critical. And that is what Technical University of Mombasa is doing. Just to mention that if you have any query, you have any question or a comment or anything that you are seeking clarification, feel free to drop it on our social media pages, that is on Facebook at Technical University of Mombasa, also on Twitter at TUM001KE, and on YouTube at TUM TV KE. You can further proceed by visiting our website at www.tum.ac.ke to contact us for further clarification. Now we are proceeding to another project by Vincent Mugua and Martin Muturi called Solar Powered Greenhouse Plant. Feel most welcome. Enjoy.
Welcome guys to TUM Technical University Innovation Day. My name is Vincent Mbugwa and we are from the Faculty of Applied and Health Sciences. With me is
Martin Muturi, Washira.
Yeah, our innovation title is Solar Powered Greenhouse Plant. And in Solar Powered Greenhouse Plant, we entail at addressing the problem of food shortage and also in reliability of food supply in our community. As we know, weather tends to be unpredictable. Some year we end up having enough food. Some year we end up having no food at all due to drought or due to pest in our infestation in our farms. So with our project, it entails at least having, with our innovation, it entails at least having production at 90% maximum, more than what we could have get from if we depended on the weather patterns. So it's also in line with our Kenya Vision 2030 in the sector of food and also the SDGs goals, in which we entail at solving the problem of hunger and also trying to create employment opportunities. Okay,
the plant comprises of a solar panel which provides chill energy, which is then stored in the battery. And then we have a control box and a tank which stores water. On the tank there is a water level sensor and a pump which pumps the water to the field. In the field we have got the greenhouse. In the greenhouse we have got two sensors, the humidity sensor and the temperature sensor.
So essentially, the operation of this greenhouse, we did set the condition to tomato plants. So it can be developed to be set in condition for other crops, but we chose to do it for demonstration on tomato plants. So essentially we know that tomato require a temperature in between 17, but it should not bypass 35 degrees. So when it bypasses 35 degrees, it means the yield of the tomato plant will go down. So in our greenhouse, the condition set for tomato is that the temperature should be maintained between 17 and 33 degrees. When it goes beyond 33 degrees Celsius, we have the mechanism here, of which it is being controlled by the setup in the control box here. And we have a field. In the field, we have a fan, in which the fan automatically kicks in to regulate the temperature within the greenhouse plant. Essentially, in the operation of the greenhouse, it is done manually, in which when the temperature increases, you have just to go in and check it. You feel it for yourself and open if the door are there or the windows. But with this, you don't need all those activities, as it is incorporated with a fan, which regulates the temperature within inside. And also for tomato plants, we know that tomato require a soil moisture content in between 1 to 3 inches. So with me here is a moisture sensor, soil moisture sensor, of which it is used to sense the level of water or the water content in the soil. And when the water content in the soil bypasses the required amount, of which I said is 1 to 3 inches, when it goes below 3 inches, it means we need to rewater our tomato plants. So the pump here is set to automatically kick in and supply the water in the farm when it goes below 3 inches. So also, the temperature here is regulated by the fan. We have the humidity sensor, which should be placed centrally to take we can say the relative or the average temperature of the greenhouse, so that when the problem arises, it kicks the fan and the temperature is regulated. In the tank section, of which we assumed it should be placed somewhere outside, so you'll not be going there to automatically monitor it, in that you'll go check the water level at what percentage or at what level it is. No, you'll just be sitting at the control set point. It will be just like a room, of which we have a display here, an LCD display. It acts like your monitor or your screen on which you check the parameters within the field. The parameters within the field, of which the physical parameters, the water, the temperature, are just converted by the sensor to digital signals, of which can be displayed on the screen. So your work will be just to be checking on how they're varying. When the water levels goes below, in our case, this level, we did take it to an estimation of 3 centimeters. So when it goes below 1 centimeters, we have a pump, of which it is connected outside, and it will automatically refill the tank. So your work will just be to checking if the electronic gadgets are operating well. So these 2 pails here represent our farm. This wet farm is when the soil moisture content is at its best, or it is at its set conditions. And this one represents when the soil is dry. So essentially what happens here is when the farm is well watered, it means that there will be no water running into the farm. But when the soil is dry, it means that we'll need to rewater our tomato plants for our case. So it means that when you remove it, the water automatically kicks into the farm, and the water starts running to the farm until it is well watered. And it means when it is well watered, when it reaches that level, the pump automatically stops. You can see it as automatically stopped. So for the temperature part, here on the LCD display, it shows the temperature is at that. It means that the condition in the greenhouse is set. What about if it bypasses 30? We'll see what will happen. So the fan is running to regulate the temperature within the greenhouse and also the humidity. So when it goes below 35, 34, it should automatically stop. And also for our case, we realized that during the night, plants require light to photosynthesize. So we did set a light sensor here. It's an LD. So the light sensor, we did put it in the range of percentage, in that when the light goes below 50%, it means that the bulb inside the greenhouse will automatically light to also increase the temperature during the night when the temperature is below the set point, so as to rise the temperature to the required set. So As we are using the renewable part of energy, it means the continuous process that is running in the greenhouse should be equivalently cheap, because you'll not need to incur at the end of the month be paying for electric bill, but instead you'll be having your own source of energy. Thank you.
Our message to the new students is that as a community, we are facing very many challenges, and we should try and use their great minds and time to try and solve these problems.
Thank you so much, Victor, for the project that is solar-powered greenhouse plant. The next person that I'm going to introduce is none other than Emmanuel Nzai. Emmanuel Nzai is the CEO, Jumuiya ya County za Pwani. Feel most welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. My name is Emmanuel Nzai. I'm the CEO, Jumuiya ya County za Pwani, and I think I have how many minutes?
About
20 minutes. I can probably do it in 15. But one, congratulations to the Technical University of Mombasa for this event. Technical University of Mombasa and Jumuiya ya County za Pwani have been enduring partners in the regional economic development. They are one of the partners, together with the 6 coastal counties, who in the last 6 years have been working on this experiment of a regional economic development agency that lifts the boundaries of the 6 counties of the coastal region to think together in much of the cross-cutting policy issues, investment issues, and simply the economic growth and livelihoods of the 4 million people in this region. So to that end, we have a regional economic blueprint. It's called the Jumuiya 2030, which we have developed in the last few years. And essentially what that does is it has harmonized the county integrated development plans of the 6 counties to come up with a regional blueprint between now and 2030, mimicking the Vision 2030. Where we think we can really shift and transform this region for shared prosperity, more of our young people getting the high-paying jobs that they need, higher levels of education, but mostly of it that they have the social equity, actually the social and economic equity. And this basically will get to solve much of the challenges that we have had in this region, where there is high levels of poverty, there is low levels of transition. This is from the young people getting from primary school to secondary school, to the colleges, universities, name them, and then into the marketplace. So in this sense, we have analyzed, we have had long conversations with the policymakers, with the private sector to come up with potential some programs and projects which we can agree on that we can undertake. So in this space, on the Jumuiya 2030, we came up with what we call the Jumuiya 10. And the Jumuiya 10 basically have the economic pillar, the social pillar, and the enablers. And in those 10, in the economic pillar, in order of priority, solving the agribusiness, food and nutrition security and all its value chains to unlock that is a high priority. The blue economy with all its 4 components, which is the tourism, culture and heritage, the maritime, the minerals which are within the waters, and the fisheries value chains become very important as one integrated sector. Trade and industries with the ports that we have in this region, especially with the coming up of now the Lamu port, the Mombasa port that we have, the special economic zones, and much of these projects, which all of them get to commence from the coastal region, We can talk about the standard gauge rail and many more. The natural resources that we have and environment, fragile as it is in terms of the sea and the land, the marine ecosystem, but also the rich resources that we have in terms of agricultural land, in terms of minerals, especially in Taita Taveta, Kwale, and Kilifi. So the whole of that economic cluster that we need to look at. More important, the social pillar, we have two, where education and health have been harmonized together there. And the thinking around that, it goes in really to the core of the challenges that the majority of the people that we have, which is simply education and health. And talk about health in that space right now. The biggest challenge, of course, we have is the global pandemic in COVID, a real threat which has totally changed much of the landscape in many ways, and especially now when we're talking about innovation. It should be a question of how do we innovate in the COVID-19 times and the new world order of COVID-19. We know that education from early childhood all the way to the university has been disrupted. What does this mean? And how can we innovate both for health on the one side, but also for us to be able to create employment for the young people, the present and the future generation. That's a real challenge that I think we have it both at the university and all research institutes like the one at the Technical University of Mombasa. Urbanization is also another one, as we can see with the expansion now of population. There is more movement, especially of the 70% of young people, they're moving to urban centers. So there needs to be proper planning to make sure that the urban centers are planned and well thought out. But more important, again, to make sure that there is economic growth, there is social justice in many different aspects of much of the livelihood that they have. Infrastructure, governance, land banking, and financial services are the other ones. Now, I think in this conversation, the reason I went through that was to kind of, set the platform for much of the thinking of this region and the Jumuiya platform, the way we have it and how we constructed it. The architecture of it is one where we borrowed the triple helix model, where we said if education and transition rates are our problem in this region. And a good example of it is the 3 local universities that we have: Technical University of Mombasa, Taita Taveta University, and Pwani University. With the 4 million population that we currently have, in each of these universities, it's less than 5% of the local population who attend these universities. Granted, they go to other places, but that's indicative of a challenge. And then you don't need to go far. You take a look at the most vulnerable time of these young people, most of them because of the poverty levels. From standard 8, they actually struggle to get to standard 8. Then from standard 8 to Form 1 all the way to Form 4, there is many dropouts. From Form 4 all the way to colleges, vocational trainings, there is major dropouts. Where do they end at? They end at copycatting the regular stuff. A brother, cousin is a matatu driver, so they end up being a tout. A cousin somewhere gets to buy a tuk-tuk, so they get to ride that. Within a few years, that person, they become parents. And the vicious cycle of poverty runs around that. So I think at this point, again, tragically reminded by COVID-19 and these times that it is, we are a very vulnerable society. We must start thinking very innovatively, especially with now the universities that we have, the private sector, and the government that we have. So that's the triple helix where more and more so, I think if these three areas get to work together, they will happen. So that is the thinking around the flagship projects that we call Jumuiya Innovation Lab. Jumuiya Innovation Lab is a flagship project within the Jumuiya 2030, also adopted by the 6 coastal counties that they have all committed in all the interventions that they have for them to set up a one central place where it's going to be an incubator for the young people and mostly entrepreneurs working around especially the agribusiness value chain, the blue economy, the trade and industries, where the young people who are currently out there, be it that they're tenderpreneurs, be it that they're out selling eggs, they're out doing something, as long as they're entrepreneurs, we can give them a home where they get to be incubated. Out of them, there's a lot of ideas. And I find that more to be very, very interesting, especially in the link between the county governments where they have all departments of youth and gender, departments of education, where they spend a lot of money in this space. But then the university is also there to educate and innovate in the real challenges. The private sector is there where they would want to come as the prior speaker talked about here about some of these innovation labs like the one that we had at City Mall, where they have been doing a lot of work. There's another one at the Swahili Port, which is doing tremendous good with my good friend Mohammed Noor. So with that, I think if we do that, we will get to a critical mass guided by policy on one end, but we can really count on the interventions that we are making. And we can count how many people we actually move that they would otherwise have been lost probably in the transitions that we talked about that they can't. But we can take a look at the blue economy to say, how many people can we move in the fisheries? How many people, young people, can we actually go train and for them to be innovative fishermen over the next 5 years? And with that, we know the county governments are buying boats. They will be put in those boats. But they also can bring in new innovations in terms of increasing the fish catch because the current fishermen are currently simply fishing with very traditional methods. So it is now that really the young people who I think will be able to be enabled to get into these spaces. The other aspect around that Jumuiya Innovation Lab, apart from incubating, is upskilling and linkages with the private sector employers. Because you cannot upskill someone and then you do not show them a pathway or a ready employer who will be ready to employ them, and they will go and increase productivity as a value proposition to them. So we've worked this with Generation Kenya, a very, very interesting model which has been proven. It has worked in many, many ways, where in a very, very simple way, we can work with the young people and upskill them for a period of 3 months. We are teaching them simply the new order of things that they didn't learn in school. And for them to be ready where an employer will be able to interview these people. They will have the confidence of both speaking and thinking in their feet for them to be able to secure that job. But not only does it stop there, and I think this is the most probably fascinating part with the university system, if you may call it, between these 3 local universities with their vocational training center. Is the commitment to lifelong learning, that they would come in and it is okay for you to probably get out of standard 8, go to a vocational training, but have a path where you still, if you want, you can still go back and get a university degree, or you will simply be able to progress and you will be supported. And out of that, we think we can churn out some local young entrepreneurs who will be supported. Currently, the counties are putting in a lot of funding in these spaces, and a good example is Kilifi County. They have a Mbegu Fund. So the Mbegu Fund is such that they give very, very small loans to young people with innovative ideas at very, very low interest rates. That is a place where we want to work with all the counties. So an example is if Kilifi County is putting like 100 million, which is what they had in this budget, they will reach out to more. But we can come in and potentially support this where we increase more funds into that pot in alignment with the like of Technical University of Mombasa, because simply of the program that we have. Kwale County has the same, where they have business centers and they're more focused on agribusiness and the value chains, unlocking the value chains, be it from cassava value chains that they grow a bit, or it could simply be young people who are rearing chicken, and it's a play between the chicken, food from cassava, and those value chains get to play and they make some money. So it's very, very, I think it's a very, very interesting. I think we are very ripe for this ecosystem, and I think the partnership that we have with the Technical University, the Partnership Research and Innovation Center, headed by Dr. Saulo, I think is doing a tremendous, a very good job at it, where we have an opportunity probably in the next 1 or 2 years for us to counter progress in the innovation labs that they currently are putting in their schools of engineering. And I'm hoping, we can do this the same with the blue economy space and linking with the Jumuiya Innovation Lab. Lastly, on my part, I think all these words are very, very good. But I think it's important at the end of it to say, beginning January or the next 3-4 months, how many people are we moving up the value chain for us to move into the innovation space? So we are fortunate at this point. We are going to be launching this December with all the COVID times an inception and validation process on a project we have with the European Union. It's called GoBlue. So the GoBlue is a 4-year, 2.5 billion shilling fund, the first one of its kind. And part of that, the immediate exercise will be to design and launch the Jumuiya Innovation Lab in each of the 6 counties, looking at the fisheries value chain, the agribusiness, food and nutrition security space. We are looking to benefit at least 1,000 young people who we will hold them in the next 4 years to incubate them into entrepreneurs, be it small, medium, or wherever they are. It will also benefit 1,000 fishermen across the region who will be equipped with capacity building, with fishing equipment that they need, with safety and security skills that they need. And our mark is for us to see how much more fish catch that they have, how much more money they bring into their households. So that by itself is very, very, it's an innovative program, which we hope that with the Jumuiya Innovation Lab at the center of it, it can be a catalyst to much of the goals that we want to achieve in both partnerships with the like of the universities, the vocational training on one end, the private sector, who are the employers, and on the other hand, the county governments who bring in the enabling policy framework and the infrastructure that's required to move. So with those many, many words, I thank you so much. I welcome everyone to join us. Our website is www.jumuiya.org. Our doors are open for partnerships and we look forward to working with you closely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Zai, for a wonderful speech. We are looking forward to working with you. We are moving to the next project. That is a project by Thomas Sanaipa, a project called Potential of Cider Arabica leaf extract in controlling bedbugs. As you are aware, bedbugs have been found to be one of the very common human pests. So this study was therefore conducted with the objective of testing Cider arabica leaf as a potential bedbug biopesticide. Feel most welcome.
Hi, my name is Thomas Sanaipa, Faculty of Applied and Health Science. My innovation is use of Cider arabica leaf extract in control of bedbugs. Cider arabica is a plant which grows in about 25 or 26 counties in Kenya. It grows in semi-arid areas with low rainfall. And this project addressed the problem of the bedbug. Bedbugs have infested most of the hotels, most buses, other school hostels, and this problem is around everywhere. It's even around in the world, in France, UK, and my innovation tried to address the problem of the bedbug resistance. You find that most farms try to manufacture insecticides which are used to control bedbugs. You find in the case, like the use of the DDT insecticide, which is mostly used in Mombasa areas, you find that certain strains of bedbugs have become resistant to the DDT insecticide. And also, in addressing the problem on environmental problem on pollution, you find that the policies on Vision 2030 address the problem of the releasing chlorine compounds to the environment, which destroys the ozone layer. And in that case, they put some guidelines which address the environmental pollution and limit the amount of chlorine that's released to the environment. And in that context, they banned the DDT, which is most commonly used insecticide around Kenya and in Mombasa. We also have the problem of housing. You find that some people, some plots or some apartments have been invested by bedbugs, and you find the problem of getting clients to those apartments and hotels. I try to innovate on the use of Cider arabica to make a biopesticide which is environmentally friendly. And I got leaves, then I extracted an extract which I measured the effectiveness, and I also compared the extract and the DDT insecticide. And in that case, I got that the extract is more effective. We need a little amount of the extract to kill bedbugs than maybe, for example, when you use the DDT, we use a standard of 1%, which kills around 80% of the bedbugs from my investigation. And in that case, when I used 1% of Cider arabica leaf extract, I find that it's an overdose. It kills 100% of the bedbugs. And these are the products. These are the products I extracted in different percentages: 2%, 1%, 0.5%. Then I tested all the concentrations. Then I found out that the standard concentration is 1%, because 1% is very effective and it kills. The mortality is 100%. And when you use the Cider arabica leaf extract, we find that it's environmentally friendly and human friendly. It's not toxic like the other insecticides, which are mostly commonly used in in industries and in other areas. And this is 0.5% of the extract. Then this is around 1% of the extract that I got, and this 1% is the standard that I recommend to be used for the control of bed bugs. You find that when other scientists are coming up with insecticide, they mostly focus on the use of the synthetic insecticide, because synthetic insecticides, maybe you can make them from the lab without going and getting other materials outside. And you find that this synthetic insecticide cause diverse problems to the environment, which we are trying to come up with other insecticides which we can, so that we can limit the effects on the environment. The economic viability of this project is that the Cydia arabica is, in Kenya, Cydia arabica is about 67.3%, cover around 67.3%. You find that in countries like Arabia, Saudi Arabia, it covers around 90% of the country. And you find that we are also using the leaves, whereby you get the leaves and the next season the leaves will just form other new leaves. Yeah. So these are these are the products. This is 2%. 2% is an overdose. You find that this is 0.2%, which kills around 60%. The 0.5%, around 80%. Then you find that 1% kills 100% of the bed bugs. 1% has 100% of mortality. Yeah, in that case, the recommended standard is 1%. Thank you.
My name is Kipkor Kidion from the Department of Medical Engineering, and my innovation is diagnosis of malaria using machine learning. Okay, where I was attached during the normal industrial attachment, I realized that most of the diagnosis of malaria is the use of conventional microscope, whereby the lab technician usually observe the prepared slide inside the microscope and then manually checking the microscope to see where there is virus, not the virus but the bacteria. But I realized that there is need to innovate in order to solve the problem of manually checking the slide by using machine learning. So I realized that there is need to capture those images, and these images is trained using machine learning. And then once the model has been trained, then the model is extracted, and then later I build the software. And this software is able to detect the presence of malaria, not only the presence of malaria, but to an extent which type of malaria, because we have 5 types of malaria. And this system is able to detect the presence of 2 types of malaria. That is the Plasmodium falciparum, which is the common one, and we also have Plasmodium falciparum. So I realized that once you train a model, it will be able to avoid the biasness, because as human beings sometimes we are biased, because they normally say experience is something very important in anything, because if you have experience, definitely you are able to identify, to spot where there is bacteria. But computer is not biased. So once you train the model, it will be able to learn through patterns, because it will be following a particular pattern. So once this pattern, once the computer is trained and is able to identify those patterns, it will be able to tell you which type of parasite, that is either falciparum or the Fifax. Because for the falciparum, it is the one which is so much intense, At the same time, the shape of the shape inside the slide is banana shape. So the computer is able to identify which type of parasite, because it will see the pattern. If it is banana shape, it is able to see that pattern, and it will be able to show that this is a type of malaria, that is Plasmodium falciparum. So with that, I can demonstrate how the model works. Okay, so someone will be using this software should be able to create an account. Then you log in with the normal details like the username and the password. So I'm just creating a simple account. And then it will be able, in case you forget password, it will be able, you are able to reset the password. So first of all, when you are creating an account, you have to enter the security question, because most of the softwares, in case you forget password, you are supposed to reset it back. And for you to reset it back, you should be having the security question. So I'm just setting my security question. So which town were you born in? Let me just say my town. And then we also have the product key, because even for the Microsoft, for the Windows, we should be having the product key in order to activate the Windows. So for me, I'm also supposed to provide the product key. Then once you click sign in, you are able to log in. So let me just log in with the account that I created. So once you log in, anybody who will be using this software, because once you log in, meaning that you have the credentials, then you have to enter the patient's details, because patient details, in order to be saved into the database, so you should be having the patient's details. Like, let me say the patient is my name. And then age, we have using the first name, other name, and the gender. And then you save the record. And then once you save the record, it will take you to a different window whereby you are supposed to open where there is those images. So I'm just clicking open folder, and I'm supposed to view those images, because once the images has been taken, it will be saved into different folders depending on the patient details. So I'm just clicking where those images are. So let me just click the first one, because I have a set of images. So let me just choose any image. And then once I load the image, the software is able to detect. And you just have to click a button. So once you click a button, it will be able to show you where the details of the patient and the status and accuracy. And according to this prediction, the status is Plasmodium falciparum, and the accuracy is 100%. So once I predict, or the system predicts, you just have to upload the records, because maybe in the near future you'll be using those records to make a clinical decision. So you just have to upload, and then in case you want to upload another image, this time around, let me just choose an image which is not infected, because inside here I have two sets of images. We have the one which is infected and the one which is not infected. So let me just use images which are not infected. And then I upload to the software. The software is able to detect. And this one, the status is uninfected. And then the accuracy is 97.142%. So once you make diagnosis, you can upload to the database. And then in case you now want to make the clinic, because you'll be performing a set of diagnosis. Now you want to see which image was having this malaria and which one was not having malaria. So you just have to query the database, because everything is saved to the database. So you just have to click a button, and it will be able to show you all the diagnoses that you made. Like, since we made 2 diagnoses, the first one is Plasmodium falciparum, that is 100% accuracy. The second one is 97%, but it is uninfected. So this software will be aiding the medical lab technicians. Instead of manually checking through the microscope, the software is able to make all those all those diagnoses. It will be able to see these patterns, and it will be able to diagnose. And this software is, again, is very important because as you can see, with technology, there is prospects of using AI. And AI is something, it will be replacing human intelligence, because we have artificial intelligence and we also have human intelligence. So this artificial intelligence will be trying to mimic how human brains work. Because in order for you to make a decision, you should be having something inside your brain, like the pre-knowledge. And this pre-knowledge is what artificial intelligence is trying to mimic. I believe with this software is able to make accurate diagnosis, because it will avoid biasness, and it is very, very important. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We are going to have our next speaker, who is Eva Kimani. Eva Kimani is the project manager, MDF, training and consultancy, and working together with Close the Gap. She'll be talking about Boost Your Tech project. Welcome, Eva.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the introduction. It's a great pleasure to be part of the Technical University of Mombasa Innovation Week. When you first hear about innovation, your mind, or at least mine, would originally go into rocket science mode. I'd see people in a laboratory coming up with different ways of going to the moon. I gave myself the story that innovation is for the geniuses, and my perception of an innovation hub was a room full of people with test tubes or geeks sitting around a computer trying to crack some code. Well, I was wrong. Innovation is about a new idea. It's providing a solution to an existing problem or challenge. And that's what Boost, our project, is about. Boost is a baby of a partnership between MDF, Training and Consultancy, Close the Gap Kenya, Crosswise Works, GoodUp, and NITA, the National Industrial Training Authority. Through three distinct pillars, which is the innovation, the learning, and the technology, we are inspiring youth and startups through our 10-week incubation program. We're also providing a space for youth and businesses in Mombasa to come together and co-create environmental sustainable solutions. We're also equipping the youth with the right skill sets, both technical and soft skills, to hopefully meet the labor market needs of the Mombasa region. Our approach is around sustainability and innovation, and our theme is on circular economy. Circular economy is about sustainability, and I see that your theme today is also about sustainability. And what is sustainability? It's about limiting the negative environmental impact and waste of resources and ensuring maximum use of already existing products. What do I mean by that? In all our houses, we all have a drawer or a cupboard where we store our old phones, laptops, and other gadgets. There's also the plastic bottles and glasses that mostly we will find tucked under your sink or in your store. Before the ban on plastic bags, we all had supermarket labeled bags that were also in a box or drawer that you stored for reuse. Well, that is what circular economy is about. Reuse of the already available resources to produce something else. And I also believe that's what innovation is. So we are using the theme of circular economy and being cognizant of the environment. And we hope by the use of this theme, we can indeed come up with innovative products and services that will reduce the amount of waste in our country, and in turn, create employment opportunities, learn and grow. We believe innovation best comes through partnership and collaboration, and are keen to work with different stakeholders, company, and institutions. And in this regard, we have been in discussion with the Technical University Partnership Research and Innovation Department, and we are hopefully looking for a collaboration with the organization, with your team. We're physically located at Close the Gap Hub, which is at Ratna Square, and I'd like to ask you to pay us a visit. We have an excellent co-working space and are currently setting up a market space where you can come and test out some of your innovations. That, gentlemen and ladies, is a glimpse of what Boost Your Project is. And I'm currently have the opportunity to oversee its implementation. And I look forward to collaboration because, as I said, partnerships and collaborations have an impact on innovation. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Eva. We are proceeding to the next. We want to bring another project for you to see. That is by Cynthia Kwamboka, the online banking system with GPS. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cynthia Kwamboka Kengara. I'm from the Department of Institute of Computer and Informatics, Computer Science and Engineering. I'm a finalist at the Technical University of Mombasa, and I'm here to present my innovation that is in line with COVID-19 and the SDG goal number 11 that states sustainable cities and communities. Currently, we are facing a pandemic, COVID-19, and we have been urged to follow measures, that is social distancing, that is wearing masks, keeping safe, avoiding crowded areas, and staying indoors. Currently, we have, still at the pandemic, we need to continue performing business operations. And in business operations, we need to access money, we need cash flow within the economy, we need money to circulate within the country. So there's a need to access financial services. As an individual, as a company, as an operation, as an institution, there's a need to access financial services, and there's a need to the conveniencing and to prevent inconvenience and frustration when accessing financial services. So when you need to access financial services, you need to know where they are. My innovation is online banking with GPS, and GPS is global positioning system, whereby it can tell the location of a current, it can tell the location of your current position, and it can be able to calculate the distance to where you're going. Incorporating the GPS in my system, you can be able to locate the nearest banking facilities that you want to go to. Within a given area, you can be able to locate, and this way it's convenient for you wherever you are. You can be at home. Now we do not have much options. You can be at home, you can be in a certain situation and you need urgency, you need to withdraw urgently, you need to access a financial facility. So this way you can be able to locate in your convenience to a banking facility. That can be a banking agent, that can be a bank branch, that can be an ATM. In a banking agent, you can you can be able to further your services by accessing M-Pesa services. You can access Airtel mobile money. You can access T-Cash, that's for telecom. So in our current situation, we are to avoid crowded areas. The need to access financial services, therefore, I created an online banking system. That way you can avoid long queues in the banks, you avoid crowded areas, and now we are told to avoid going to areas that are of high temperatures. So in your convenient place, you can be able to search, you can be able to look for a place from where you are, because to look for an agent to acquire face-to-face services. To avoid going to the bank, banks created third parties that are able to help you in accessing or performing financial transactions. So for you, you can just access an agent, and you can perform face-to-face transaction. That is, if you want an advice or if you want to withdraw money or deposit. So I incorporated some features in my system that you can be able to locate your banking facilities. So in your system, in this system, you can just log in. When you log in, you log in with your credential, that is your username and your password. After you log in, you are sent to another interface, that is your dashboard, that you can be able to view your transactions, you can be able to view your profile, you can change your password and everything. And also you can perform the transaction, that is to deposit, to withdraw, or to transfer funds. You can send money to your beneficiary. Also, after that is now it's like your portal. So after that, you can now go to a location menu. When you click the location menu, when you want to access a financial, a banking facility, that is an agent, you click on that interface, and it will prompt you to another interface. That is now where you're going to see your map, your view of your location, where you're going to view the location agent. Now, when you enter, now that is a customized map that I created, where it will suit the preference and needs of a user. Now, when you click on that and you are present there in the interface of the map, you can actually now key in to the exact street of where you are. My customized app, I ensured that you can be able to key in the address of where you are, so that the GPS can be able to detect the nearest banking facilities from where you are. So if you key in a place, for example, an address that is now narrowing down to the street of where you are, for example, Tomboya Street, it will show you the nearest facilities from where you are. So that one will show you, and it will have calculated the distance. So from where you are, you can see maybe it's a banking agent or it's an ATM. So a banking agent will have to come first. It will show you the distance. From where you are, it's 0.9 kilometers, for instance. The ATM, maybe it's 1.8 kilometers. So from where you are, you can determine whether you can, it's convenient enough for you. And also you can check whether the security of that place is good. Also, because of the current situation we are in, if you have been showed a place, you'll have to check it up and see whether it's convenient for you to go, if it's a crowded area, or if it's of high temperatures and such like that and stuff. So it will show you the distance, and you can be able to make a decision of whether you want to go or not. And also, you can decide to visit an agent. And an agent, now I furthered the services of that agent to be able to offer services like M-Pesa and Airtel mobile money. This is for the cases such that we are told to avoid going to very many places, to stay indoors, unless you have actually you're working or you are required to do something for the economy or in a company. So when you go to an agent, you can find all services at one place. If it's to withdraw cash from now the banking agent, maybe you have a card for the bank, you can withdraw and also perform other transactions like send to an M-Pesa, or if you have an Airtel line, you can send using the Airtel mobile money. If you have Telcom, you can use the T-Cash. So that is how I created my system. It's in-house. You have all the services in one place. You locate an agent, you actually further your services in one place to avoid going to many places and inconveniencing yourself, and making sure that you are keeping yourself safe. Keeping safe and ensuring also you're accessing financial services to do or perform activities, business activities. Business operations have to go on companies have to continue performing, businesses, institutions, schools need to still go on. They need school fees, money needs to be within the economy. Life has to go on, but we still need to keep safe. Also, in sustainability, we need to sustain ourselves. We need to actually use money to make money. And using money, you need to access this money, and you have to access it. You need to know where it is, so you need to locate where it is. And when locating where it is, you need to locate in a place that you know it's secure, to avoid going to banking areas. That's why there was a need to come up with a digital platform, because COVID-19 has made many businesses to push their services online, and also for your accessibility and to avoid frustration, because now many people are going through a lot of things and you need to carry on with your life and keeping safe.
So my name is David More. I come from, what I do, I take business information technology and I come from the department management science. And today I'll be presenting more of a business, not a project of a sort, but what I'm presenting today is a commercial platform that aims to expand the customer scale for farmers and ease the purchase for buyers online. So I've grown up around the farmers and interacting with the farmers. There's some key pain points that I pinpointed, and I thought it would be important to use the skills I've acquired over the years to try and help out. Like for instance, you find that if a farmer tries new products or new crops in an area, sometimes finding the market for the product isn't as easy as it will seem. And going online, there's not that much of I would say solutions. You'll find some hints, but not very clear-cut solutions. Some exist, but they don't deal in most or all the types of crops. So today I present to Jamii Fresh, where farmers are able to sell their produce online to markets all around the world, and the buyers are able to track their delivery from the point of pickup to their destination. And along that line, we are trying to cut out the middlemen, that is the brokers along the chain. Therefore, the cost the farmer is going to incur or the buyer is reduced. So it is integrated with the API from Sandy, who are a logistic company, who are they are known for the deliveries. And then on the back end, how we are going to commercialize it is that the farmers will be paying subscription services, that is monthly subscription. And this subscription basically isn't just a subscription. This is taken as a savings. This will go into a saving pool. These funds will be used to, after a period of time, a farmer will be eligible to acquire loans, and in turn, they are able to increase their business and grow their scale of produce. So I'll give you a slight demo of the platform. When you land on the page, first you have an option of logging in as a farmer or as a buyer. And for today, I'll log in as a buyer. after logging in as a buyer, the first thing I see is my inventory. That is the pending deliveries and the completed deliveries. This was intentional to make sure that if, let's say, it's a company ordering some produce from the platform, you're able to keep up with the inventory and keep records. This will help you in running your business. So on the pending delivery, you're able to see the order ID, the category, the quantity, the price, and the status. So from there, I'll go to buy products. On that landing page, you're going to find all the produce that are available, where you're going to make your order according to the prices. So after choosing the quantity, you'll hit the buy button, and on there is a cart where you'll be shown the items you've purchased, where you're going to proceed to checkout. You hit the proceed to checkout. There you'll put all the your details of the address, where the merchandise will be delivered to. Then finally you're going to order, and that is you're going to pay. Where the payment system is you pay on delivery, or you pay directly to the Sendy platform, who are the ones who will be doing the delivery. So logging in as a farmer, I'm able to see my orders, what I've received, and also integrated with an bulk SMS system, where it will be able to send the orders directly through SMS, and the farmer is able to receive the orders to arrange the products to prepare them for pickup. We are working on integrating the Jamii savings, which is another segment of where this pool of funds, after the subscription money is collected, after a period of time, a farmer is eligible to acquire loans, which the loans will be, the pool of funds will be called Jamii savings, and the farmer will be able to apply, and directly, just like Mshwari, the farmer receives the order, the loan on the phone through M-Pesa. So I like to reach out to the key players in the market, that is the logistic companies and transport companies, and any willing investor who is willing to take a chance with me and the company, and let's take this to greater heights. To new students coming in, I would like to encourage you that it's important that you create jobs now for the better of everyone. I thank you for your time.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you very much for joining our virtual innovation day. My name is Willie Jasin. I'm the president of Innovations. So I have a lot to tell you. I really want to mentor you. So I hope we'll meet on January next year. Welcome to TUM Innovations. When you join, just join TUM Innovations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason, for that introduction and welcoming the students. Before I go any further, I'd like to take this opportunity to appreciate and congratulate the last presenter. The last presenter is a first-year student from the Department of Management Science. In most cases, most of the students who take up the innovations and get to present are usually fourth-year students. But in this case, we are seeing a first-year student coming out, very courageous and coming up with an innovation and even able to present it out there. I mean, throwing yourself out there and making yourself known and giving out what you have. That is very commendable of you, Kevin. At this juncture, I'd like to bring the session to an end, and I'd like to appreciate the keynote speakers who presented this morning. We have the DVC who talked about the leveraging of industry and academia. to maximize on output of innovations. And I would like to also appreciate the VC who critically looked at how the institution is developing an ecosystem that is within the institution and outside, and how this is enhancing product development and commercialization. I would like to appreciate the Chief Officer, Mr. Innocent Mugabe, who actually talked very critically on leveraging innovation for sustainable development. He really delved on the theme of the day. I would like to appreciate him for that. We had an opportunity of looking at various innovations that were presented by our students in a total of 14 for today, and we're looking forward to having many more going forward. We had speakers, we had Emmanuel Nzai from Jumuiya ya County za Pwani, who brought out very clearly about the Jumuiya Innovation Lab that is currently going on, and also showing us what the other counties within the JKP counties are doing, that is Kwale County and Kilifi County, and how we are looking forward to partner to even foster more innovations that will be coming out from the institution and elsewhere to grow the economy of the 6 counties. And lastly, I would like to appreciate the team that was able to prepare this whole activity, the technical team, the organizing team, and the management for supporting us in every preparation that we had to go through to make this day a success. I would like to recognize the effort that the University Council has put in, constantly following up on activities of the PRI department to make sure that we're actually meeting and achieving the purpose of the department, and that is inculcating research in the institution. We are making baby steps, but I believe we are heading there. We'll be covering our multidisciplinary conference next year in March, and we are looking forward to have more projects that will be showcased by the students. And apart from that, from our visitor, Eva Kimani, who talked about the incubation that will be taking place from January, we are hoping that we'll be able to launch products that will be commercialized by the time we have our conference in March. Thank you very much for joining us, and we're looking forward to getting more feedback from you and corrections where possible for our students and much more. Thank you, and God bless you.